After stream.
After show.
Oh yeah.
What about the after stream? We're not streaming right now.
Hi everybody.
Hi.
Glad you were able to make it to the after show.
Yes. If you don't know what the after stream is, we kind of do the same thing like when we stream live. Not all the patrons Some hang out with us on Twitch, but not everyone does.
Okay, so background on this big boy right here.
Oh my God. He is a big boy.
This was so fun. He's a lot bigger than I expected him to be.
I expected him to be maybe about this tall, but a lot skinnier.
Yeah.
It's just his balloon shape was more rounded.
Yeah, well, that's just how the balloon
blows.
So I can't really remember anymore how this project got started.
Well, it's because we wanted to do something pet related. Like we wanted something for the supervisor. Mm-hmm. And we were kind of going back and forth between the main options were, do we do a scratching post? Do we do some sort of cat house? Or do we do like a cat tree? And so we found, I was just browsing on Pinterest and I'd seen the cactuses before that were kind of like a combination of a tree and like a small tree, they can technically climb it, and a cat scratching post. But then I'd also seen stuff before like stickers and graphics and various things that are like Catcus things where it's like a cat in the shape of a cactus.
Well, let's explain the cat scratching post cactus.
I just explained it in the video.
Oh, we did. Oh yeah, we showed pictures of it. Oh yeah. You guys know.
It's like a PVC pipe wrapped in green twine. Looks like a cactus.
Yeah.
But anyways, because I thought that was such a cute image, it was like, how can we make that instead of just a PVC cactus? Because we want to do something different. Mm-hmm. But then we were like, oh, with this shape, she could actually go in it.
Yeah. And I don't know how the construction method came about. I think that I was just like, okay, how can we do this within a reasonable amount of time? That shape looks like it's a balloon. Let's use a balloon as a base and let's paper mache it. I don't know how else we could have done it.
I don't know. And going into it, we did not know if the paper mache, we didn't know how long it would take to dry. We didn't know if it would be structurally sound. It ended up probably not really being either of those things, but then we covered it in resin and it was good. Well,
but also there's so few rules for paper mache. Everyone has their own formula. Mm-hmm. Everyone has a different material that they use. Newspaper is the classic, but there's you can use any fabric-like material. We could have done this with cloth or anything. It's like paper mache is just
cloth and resin, ultimate paper mache.
Well, no, that's what boats are. It's just
fiberglass.
Fiberglass and resin.
There you go. We can make a boat, a cat boat. I mean, I'm thinking of it.
We could. We could. But I think the only alternative that I've thought of is basically 3D printing this in a whole bunch of parts. But
and then stacking multiple rings or multiple portions.
This would have been the 6 different prints, and that would have been
even more. I think it would have been more than 6.
It would have been too much. It would have taken a week or two just of 3D printing.
And that's assuming none of the prints failed.
Or warped.
Yeah.
And then we'd have to assemble it all?
No. Yeah. What I had thought of was maybe if we used the CNC and did multiple rings and stacked them, hollow rings. You start small. And you have to kind of overlap them and stack them, and they get bigger and then smaller, and then you have to
power sand? Oh no, that would have.
I mean, both alternative ideas would have sucked. This is definitely the best that I can think of.
That would have sucked so bad to do on the CNC. Also, if you guys want to make this is within the means of most people.
Yeah, aside from the 3D printers, we didn't use any fancy tools or anything.
No.
It's just glue.
For this stuff, you could use Sculpey or polymer clay or foam.
I mean, you could definitely use. You could use wood pretty easily for everything but the ears, and even the ears you could do them in wood if you just got carvable, softer wood and carved out the centers.
But I think the easiest might have been get even air drying clay.
Yeah.
There you go.
Yeah.
I don't know. I think that's pretty doable.
Yeah.
I'm not sure if anyone really is going to do this though, because we didn't make it seem too easy, and it wasn't that easy.
It wasn't. It's not that it was hard. It just required a lot of steps. There's a lot of individual steps.
A lot of individual steps and a lot of patience, which we do not have
Yeah.
when we are on a schedule and we need to meet the deadlines for our sponsors and our mental health.
Yeah. We were a little unsure about if the sponsor would even like our project, but luckily.
We're like, we are recording this on a Wednesday before launch, and I think that like...
We're like 90% there with the sponsor.
We're 90% there.
Yeah. But like, I feel confident now. At first we were like, are they gonna like this? This is kind of weird.
By the way, yes, this arm fell off.
Oh yeah, it fell off like immediately after we finished getting the last shots that we needed.
I mean, it makes sense to me though.
That it fell off? Yeah. It was kind of a stretch.
Like 3D printed material to hot glue, this is just too smooth. It's too smooth and slick. I should have like sanded it a little bit. Another idea that I had, I could have added like screw holes in here, and then I could have screwed through this into this.
Like from the inside?
From the inside, or bolted it or something. So there's definitely better ways that you could attach this.
Yeah. How do you think we're gonna attach it back? Just glue?
I think that what I'm gonna do is
epoxy?
Yeah, I think I'm gonna rough this up, and then since this is still a good surface, because that hot glue is really attached to the sisal. That's like not ever coming off. I'll just rough this up and epoxy this on, and the epoxy will stick well to the glue. I feel. And I think that it should work pretty well.
Yeah. You know what's funny is, okay, so we didn't even cover this in the video. We ran out of twine about here. And we had ordered the twine online, and we didn't have time to order more twine. So we just had to go to a store locally and try to find twine that was like the same thickness, but that was actually really hard because the twine we already had, when it soaked up the ink, it like expanded some. So it was hard to say, like, well, it says it's 3/8 inches, but it looks twice as big as the 3/8 at the store. So we ended up getting it, and it ended up merging fine. And I didn't realize this until I looked at the footage.
The first and the second?
The first and the second, you can totally see a divider like right here. Yep. And like when you're close up, I don't really see it.
Me either.
But from farther back, you definitely see.
But it's almost like his head and his body.
Yeah, it's that. But it's just funny because
intentional.
I was so worried about like the new twine and the old twine not matching up, but it was just like the two different pieces from the
because they had been in there for longer and shorter periods of time. And we had like added this, and then we added the other, and then we poured in more dye.
That's true.
So it was just...
And more like water too, so like the second one might have gotten a more diluted.
I don't know which one is which.
I don't know.
I think it's actually the second one that got a stronger dose, because this is the bigger thing. So it's actually the second one that somehow got a stronger dose of it, which doesn't make sense to me at all.
I don't know. Overall, the dye is pretty forgiving. We used it for some projects in our wedding, and like it's just liquid RIT dye. It's pretty forgiving. Yeah. There were a lot of rules that said to do like put in vinegar and all this stuff, and we were like,
And you know, I think I had some concerns about dyeing sisal because we didn't find any literature on like is sisal something you can dye, but you can definitely dye it.
Is it sisal or is it like Cecil? I feel like when we did the cat scratch cat post, or the cat scratch, like the couch cat scratching post, I said Cecil and like everyone was correcting me.
It's Cecil.
Is it Cecil or like Sisal? I don't know.
It's seasonal.
It's seasonal. It's twine. That's why I just called it twine in the video. That's real thick twine. Probably get corrected then too.
Well, let's see. What would we do differently, do you think?
So I would definitely make this opening bigger. Like one thing that I accounted for it width-wise. I don't know why. Oh, I know why I didn't account for it as much height-wise. Width-wise, I made it a little wider than I wanted the end opening to be because I knew I'd have to wrap these around. For the top, for some reason, I just assumed it would somehow perfectly line up and I wouldn't have to like wrap anything downwards. So I didn't take into account the extra like significant thickness that the Cecil takes up. The other thing I didn't take into account though is that it's not just a straight vertical opening, it's a sloped this way opening. And so even if it's a 6-inch opening, it's only 5 inches from the ground.
Oh,
does that make sense? Because it's at an angle.
Yeah.
So it was a lot less tall than I thought it could be. And I can tell she kind of has to like crouch down to get in. It hasn't really stopped her. She's still like, we finished this a bit ago and she's gotten in it several times and like slept in there, and
Yeah.
she still likes it. But I am considering cutting some of the twine right above the door, opening it up, rewrapping it under, because I would like for it to be like a few inches taller.
Yeah.
Just so she doesn't have to crouch so much.
Yeah.
And that's really, honestly, the only thing I would change.
Yeah.
Um,
It's pretty cool. We did
Yeah.
pretty well.
yeah, we did pretty well. It's so freaking cute.
It's
oh
so
my gosh.
cute.
It just makes me happy to look at
love it.
Yeah, I love it so much.
So we are actually going to keep it and put it somewhere in our house.
It's probably gonna be like in the living room.
Yeah, it's like we have so much stuff that we've made that's accumulating, but
We'll put it right next to the geode table.
yeah, I'm just so glad that it works, that it's structurally sound. Because in the
It
beginning,
is so structurally sound.
we had so many doubts that like this was even going to be a project because we're like, well,
well,
it was a good idea, but let's scrap it, you know. But
our backup was like, if it didn't work, we would just do one of the PVC cactuses
Yeah.
that people have done and try to find some other twist to make it unique.
LED.
LED cactus. Maybe like LED flowers or something. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know.
But yeah,
I'm just glad that we didn't have to.
me too. I'm glad this worked out.
All
Our
right.
vision.
Well, thanks so much for joining us, and we'll look forward to seeing you next time. Bye.